Butcher's Canyon. Now, this dungeon can be very frustrating if you don't know what you're doing, but it could also be the fastest dungeon run you could do with ease if you have a squad that knows what to do. If you're curious as to how easy, well, for starters, the run that you're looking at right now, we actually don't have a healer. This is a no healer run with just 1 tank and 5 DPS, save for maybe Staparu's off healing, seeing as he's a mage with staff and wand, but you could run it without a single off healer, right? You could go full DPS and 1 tank, and this dungeon could be as easy as you can possibly imagine. And we've also ran this dungeon with a healer and 2 tanks at one point, so you don't need to have the best DPS to run it. The main thing you want to pay attention to in this dungeon are the mechanics. Once you get them down to a certain degree, this dungeon will be a breeze. And another point that I want to add as well is we did this before with 1 tank and 4 DPSs. So that's 5 party members, not even a 6th party member, and we were able to do it as long as we all did the mechanics. This is how easy this dungeon can be. And also, one thing that I want to pay attention to is the mobs and the mini bosses in this dungeon, because they actually introduce the final boss's mechanics to you early on. Let's go ahead and start this video right now. Right? And you can see right away there's only 3 of us in here, and we just went ahead and started it. Just, you know, clear the trash mobs a little bit. No heals, it's fine. And you're going to see the first mechanic here. You see that? Even though the mechanic wasn't done yet and I managed to jump, I actually got pulled right back down to the ground and got damaged. Now, why is that? It looks deceiving because you would think that you're trying to jump when the red part gets to you, right? It's obvious, right? Like, it makes sense. You want to jump when it gets to you because you want to avoid it touching your feet, but that is actually not how that mechanic works. You want to jump as soon as the mechanic itself starts, and you'll see an example of that a few seconds from this first one. Did you do the new dungeon yet? Is it out yet? You can see here, this is how casual this dungeon, by the way. Responding to chat, looking through the dungeon, and you can see that mechanic right there as it starts. There you go, and then people start flooding in, and somebody has to take the pulley key pouch while we have aggro. Saparu actually goes ahead and gets it, and you don't even need to kill these mobs, by the way. You can just everybody get on the pulley, activate it, and they'll just run back to their stations once you get up to a certain height. You'll see them walk off here soon. There you go. So, one of the more peculiar things about this dungeon is that you can actually push mobs off of the bridge and make them take fall damage, and if they fall far enough, as you'll see here soon, they'll actually just die. There we go. Collision for the win. This dungeon really is a tank sweat dream. And you might be curious as to why I pushed them forward instead of like off of the bridge there, because you want to pay attention to what's below the bridge. If I had pushed them at the position that they were in, straight down, they would actually fall over to a ledge where it wouldn't kill them and they would just climb up through this little pathway up here. We wanted to push them over there so that they would just fall to their deaths all the way down. And we do get summoned here because we need to do the rift zone for excavator. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip this video forward a little bit because our team will clear some of the trash mobs that are in here. And I just want to show you this guy right here, right there, Orc Shapeshifter. So this guy, if you have enough crowd control, you can actually prevent him from doing his mechanic. He's not a mini boss, but he does have a peculiar mechanic that the final boss is going to do. So what he does is that he will turn one of you into sheep, and if you keep it for too long, you will explode and kill nearby team members. You can pass it along to other members and that will reset the timer, but take note, there is a personal cooldown every time you pass it on, which means that you can't just pass it back to the same person. You need to pass it to someone else. Repeat this cycle until the shapeshifter dies and leaves a blue circle on the ground. You need to step into that circle in order to remove the sheep debuff and prevent a team wipe, which will happen in the final boss if you get too careless with this one. And as soon as the Orc Shapeshifter dies, you can see it there. I'll go ahead and rewind that for a little bit there. As soon as he dies, you see that blue circle that he leaves there? That's the circle that you go into if you are in sheep form. So let's go ahead and skip through this because throughout this video, we've had to kind of like leave a few times and do some guild events. So alright, so we're back. This is the first mini boss. All we have to do really, since we are running a 1 tank 5 DPS team, is we just want to burn him down. We don't care too much about mechanics here, because what's going to happen is he's going to summon some shapeshifters, and all you have to do if you get turned into a sheep is that you just have to run all the way back here while your team is attacking the boss. That way you don't wipe your team or you don't get people killed. And once you die, you revive and you just run back. And now they might change that in the future. So at the very least, you already know the mechanics of Shapeshifter. And when that time comes, you can just go ahead and do the mechanic as it is probably intended to be done, right? Let's go ahead and start this right now. Go, lead with his stun right away, and he's gonna call for help here soon. There we go. And he's gonna summon those mobs. You're just gonna go ahead and try to ignore those mobs as much as you can. As you can see, Water Magic turns into sheep right away. The problem is he doesn't run too far back. He doesn't run, or rather he doesn't run far back enough, and he ends up killing Kage. So that's just one thing that you have to take note of. And he's just gonna keep summoning these things throughout the whole fight, and all you really have to do is just don't panic and just keep burning him down and you'll be just fine. There you go. As soon as he dies, everything else goes with him. Okay, some campfire recovery here. Just gonna go ahead and skip to the next part. We'll run up as soon as we're done here. See that guy with the red aura on him right there? You just want to pull that guy. You don't have to pull any of these mobs. You want to kill him because he'll drop the key pouch that you'll need to move on to the next area. And right over here, you'll see the Orc Shadowmancer. He's pretty annoying. He'll make somebody pretty much invulnerable, so you want to get rid of him as soon as possible. And by getting rid of him, I mean toss him down, right down to the gulag. Okay, now we activate the drawbridge here. I mean, the pathway to the mini bosses and even to the boss itself is just gonna be like this one right here. You're just gonna have mobs go over to you, and you're just gonna have to either kill them manually, or you can just do what we're doing and throw them off the bridge down to their deaths. Right? And then we come across the final mini bosses before the actual boss. These three, this one's pretty easy. You just have to CC all of them at the same time, all three, in order for you to do damage to them. So really easy mechanic. The one thing that you need to pay attention to in this particular scenario, because it's going to appear in the final boss, are these red markings on the ground here, the fire, the hot stone over here, because once you step into these things, it will root you in place, and it's going to do the same thing on the final boss. The game is introducing you to these mechanics early on, that way you're a bit more familiar with them when it comes to the final boss. Alright, there you go. So we freeze one and then we stun the other two. You don't have to do two at the same time. You could do them one at a time if you'd like. You know, you could freeze two, stun one, and then kill the one, and then kill the other two remaining. It's up to you. The only thing that you have to know about this part is that you have to CC them all at the same time, and then only then will you be able to do damage to them. So right now we're just waiting on cooldowns. There you go. Managed to kill them. We're gonna go ahead and get to this next part right here. Just CC this guy and then you'll be fine. Clear that and then press F on that stone tablet there, and then the pathway to the final boss will show itself. And again, same fight that you've been experiencing this whole time. Just go ahead and throw them off a bridge or kill them manually. It's really up to you. Honestly, up to preference. You might want to do your codex if you want. But us right now, we've just been doing this for enough times today that we just really want to try and get the Magna Duke belt that we've been trying to hunt the whole time. And once you kill all these mobs, you're gonna go straight to the final boss. And I'm just gonna go ahead and skip to that part. Alright, so after you're done killing those mobs, you're just gonna go ahead and proceed over to the boss. So the main mechanics here is you're gonna see a purple swirl right away. You want to block that as soon as you can. He's gonna do it now. There you go, purple swirl, easy block, and he's gonna point to one of you. See how he points to me right there? And then he's gonna do that meteor mechanic. So he points at you. Red circles on the ground, you want to dodge, you want to go ahead and leave the vicinity of those circles, because the meteors themselves, they have a pretty decent splash damage range, so you want to overcompensate a little bit on the distance there, that way you don't get hit. If you do get hit, it's not too big of a deal. Just go ahead and use a potion, use Da Vinci or something like that, and you'll be fine, right? And then the mechanic that you just saw there right now is the same mechanic at the beginning of this dungeon. When he does it, just make sure that you jump preemptively. Don't think that you're trying to time and jump over the red that's like approaching the middle there. It's not complicated like that. It doesn't require that much timing. As soon as you see it, just jump and you'll be fine. And I'll play that back a little bit for you so you can see it right there. Go. He's gonna point right away, and you can see meteor right away. People just need to dodge that. Says die, pulls everybody to the middle. So this is the first, I would say, major mechanic he does. So he's going to root one of you in the middle, and the rest have to deactivate these right here. So you can see right away there's like numbers on these pillars already, right? So there's 4 pillars and there's 4 numbers. You can see it on my mini map here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what you can do is number 1, 2, and 3 in your party are going to take care of 2 and 4, right? And then number 4, 5, and 6 in your party are going to take care of 1 and 2. So if the red appears on 2, 4, 5, and 6, that's their job. If the red appears also on 4 or 2, that is 1, 2, and 3's job, right? That way, people are always held accountable for whichever pillar that they're supposed to go to, because you need to deactivate 2 red pillars. So there's 4 pillars, 2 of them are going to be red, 2 of them are going to be blue. You need to deactivate the red ones in order to release the person in the middle, or else they die. You can see here, people are going to go ahead and deactivate that. Also, another tip that I can give you, if there are multiple people on one of the red pillars, you need to stand away from each other. Opposite sides preferably, because you can see on the periphery right here, there's already a meteor there. So what happens is, if you're trying to deactivate it and you get hit by a meteor, it's going to cancel it. And then the person in the middle is pretty much going to die because you're not going to have enough time before he does the massive AoE in the middle. So as soon as it's out, you want to morph out, run out. He's going to do his AoE, you're going to run back, and now you're at a DPS phase. And as soon as he gets up, he's going to do the same things that he was doing basically at the beginning of the fight. You're going to see a purple swirl here soon. Q block right away. Point at you. Expect the meteor to come. Overcompensate a little bit. Purple swirl. Block that right away. Jump as soon as you see the mechanic. This one you just can't block. This one you can block. Points at you. Meteor incoming. And you can see, even though I was technically out of the initial circle, I still got hit. So this one right here, this mechanic, he's gonna do that first pull-in mechanic he does, and this is the second one that he does. And he's going to alternate between the two. So you can see right here on Water Magister, he has the red mark on top of him, which means that he is going to turn into sheep. Now, when you're sheep, you can't jump over. And we know what these guys mean, right? This hot stone right here on fire. If you step on it, you get rooted in place. So if you're sheep and you can't jump, obviously you can't jump over here. So what you need to do is you need to pass it over to somebody here. You need to assign 3 people to be responsible for this one. Preferably people with the lowest DPS. Because what you need to do is you need to pass the sheep to each other until you get to the outer part, because you need to get it to where the shapeshifters are, because the rest of your DPSs, the other 3 of your DPSs, are going to try to kill that shapeshifter so you can deactivate the debuff. So you can see here, Water Magister, I call it right away. He passes it to me. I pass it to the next person over there on the other side. You know, he passes it to the next person outside. We kill this guy, put it in the blue circle, and we are in the safe zone, right? Now we've gotten rid of the sheep. Nobody is going to die. He's going to do his AoE. And we go back in, going for the DPS phase. And he's going to do the same thing he's been doing again. It's going to be the purple swirl here soon. There you go. Q block that. Same old habit, point at you, meteor. Go, purple swirl again. Block it again, and he's going to do the little jump mechanic. There you go. People are getting used to it. And pretty soon here, he's going to pull everybody to the middle. Okay, another purple swirl, block that. It's going to do the meteor again, that's fine. Gives you a longer DPS window. So here is the only thing that he does different now. He's not going to do the sheep because he's going to alternate the 2 mechanics. This is the mechanic where you need to go and deactivate the other pillars, right? So the only thing that gets added is that he adds more hot stone into the pizza slices, right? We could call this pizza slices. So when he does that, just make sure that you don't step into the hot stone. We're going to run out. We're going to go ahead and do the mechanic here. You can see he tries to do the meteor there, but fortunately he does it before I get to the pillar. People have to go run, make it out. Now you can run in, and since he's pretty low, about 20%, you can go ahead and activate your guardians here. Not necessary, but you can go ahead and activate them just to burn him down faster, so you can either take a break or redo this run. And now all you do at this point is just burn him down. And there you go. That was a no heals run, 1 tank, 5 DPS. And again, you can see it's a very interesting dungeon, and it is definitely a dungeon that you would want to do because it does drop one of the best belts in the game, especially for tanks. It gives you damage reduction, which is a very hard stat to get in the game. There's very limited places that you can get it, so you want to get it especially for your tanks. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And if you have a request for another dungeon that you want a guide for, just go ahead and comment that below as well, and hopefully this helps.